Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment.
Sestra-Tainment.
I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today talking to you about, as always, everything entertainment.
Everything entertainment.
Yeah, so sis, I think you're going to get us started this week.
Yeah. So I want to talk about one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
This is my favorite mafia movie.
Oh, okay.
Goodfellas.
So
good. Martin Scorsese. Wow, killed it.
Okay.
He even had his mother in the movie. People don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. People don't know that, and I'll get to that. I'll be she actually plays Joe Pesci's mom in the movie.
Oh.
She's only in the movie for like 3 seconds. I think she's also
still.
in Casino too. She's a Scorsese, person.
Why
It's kind of like Adam Sandler has his crew.
Yeah.
Scorsese has his mom.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
But
It's like Billy Crystal's mom.
Yeah.
In the movie, when
exactly.
Harry Met Sally. Yeah, I'll have what she's having.
Yeah. But so Goodfellas came out in 1990, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
The cast, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, Lorraine Bracco, Paul Sorvino, Frank Vincent, Debbie Mazur, Mike Starr, all-star cast.
Yep.
Back then, these people were probably not the best. They're probably not A-listers.
No,
But
I think they were pretty.
they were up there?
They were doing
All of
pretty
them?
well. Yeah, back then.
I mean,
I know you were like 6 probably when it came out or whatever.
It's older than that, but yeah. But still. But I mean, it's an amazing movie. It's just, I can't explain how good it is. The cast is very well picked, I will say that. So I just want to start off with the fact that Scorsese brings the world into the so-called mafia way of
What
life.
the mafia world
Like
was
a life of a mobster. How he brings that into the whole world is amazing, I would just say. So how it starts off is it's Ray Liotta's character, who is the main character. He's the lead character in this. So Ray Liotta's character is played by this guy named Henry Hill, who is half Italian and half Irish, so he can't be a made man. So he always starts off the movie like they're driving, and then it's this famous quote, and he says, "As far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a gangster." So that is that just puts the whole movie into perspective.
Right.
So this is now the movie of him trying to be a gangster.
To be a gangster, right?
Yeah. So with him being half Irish and half Italian, he can never be a made man, and a made man is someone who that they can track your roots all the way back to Italy. Yeah. Italy, or even Sicilia or whatever.
Yeah.
So with him not having that, because he has a Irish, I think it's mother, I can't remember which one was Irish. But with that being said, now he's trying to do, as he's growing up, he's trying to go out and do stuff to be in with the mafia, because as far as back as he can remember, he's always wanted to be a mobster, he wanted to be a gangster. So now he's running cigarettes, he's running numbers and all this other stuff for the mafia. So he's trying to get in good with them. And then once he gets a little bit older, what happens is everything now starts to fall into place. So once he has it where to where his life is what he wants it to be. I am in the mafia. I am up there. No one can touch me. I'm all good and everything. And then stuff starts to get real. Then some of his buddies that he's hanging out with start, and they go and they kill a made man. Can't do that.
No.
You kill a made man, you're dead. You have to go through the families in order to get the okay to go ahead.
It's an unspoken code, so to speak, that no matter what, you don't.
Because there are a lot of families. There's a lot of mafia families that are together, that work together to do stuff, but sometimes they don't get along. But the thing is that what they did was it's when you're trying to get rid of a made man, you have to have all of this information about why they need to be dead. What is it that they're doing that's messing up anything for the rest of the families? You have to have so much. You have to have an FBI folder full of stuff,
right? To prove and to explain why you were trying why you need to make this decision, and it's best for the family.
Exactly. So now Henry has gotten in it so deep. What happens? He goes to prison, and now prison is not like any other prison. Prison is his wife is coming in there to visit him. She has a jacket.
Federal prison.
It's a federal prison, but they're getting lobsters delivered to them. They're getting brajol. They're getting everything. They have whole garlic cloves that they're delivered to them, salami, everything they could possibly think of. Pots, pans, whatever.
Right.
Everything is delivered to them. Like Henry's wife comes up, and she's played by Lorraine Bracco. Yeah. She comes up. Who used to be on The Sopranos. Yeah, who was on The Sopranos, exactly. But she comes up, and she's going to visit him in jail. You know, she has the kids, so he's like seeing the kids, and now she's just like, oh, I see your little girlfriend's name is on the guest list. And then, like, on the visitors list, she starts throwing out all these drugs that she has in this big puffy coat.
Oh, my goodness.
That she's wearing in the summertime.
Right. Like, why is she wearing this puffy coat to come to jail in the summertime and nobody's checking her to even see if she's
because she's with the mafia, so she has to bring in all the stuff. Right. But you can't. It's like, hey, you can do it, whatever you want to do, but we can't physically see it because then then it's gonna go up the ladder above the regular people who are getting paid by the mafia. So now it's like she's just throwing stuff out. He's like, would you calm down? You're being crazy. She was like, I'm not being crazy. She's like, you're going to see what crazy is. She went from this really sweet, innocent Jewish woman to now she is like a mafia wife and she's ready to like shoot her husband because he's doing her wrong.
Wow.
Yeah. So from there, once he goes into prison, he's doing all this stuff. Now he's starting to run drugs in prison, but you have to go through the family in order to do stuff like this because the family still needs to make their money.
Oh, yeah, true.
Now you're doing that. Now the big wig comes to you. Hey, look, you doing that? Stop it. Now, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know anything about it, but you need to stop right now because you'll end up like, fats. Then it's like, okay, what does he do? Now he's like a drug addict because he is now, what does Biggie Smalls say? Never get high on your own supply. Yeah. He is doing that. He is coked out of his mind. He thinks that this helicopter is following him around everywhere. He doesn't understand what's going on. This is him out of prison? This is after he gets out of prison. Yeah. And then once he gets out of prison. So then he's like, he has all these drugs and everything in his system. He's freaking out. And what happens? They do catch him and they put him in jail. The easy way out, what does he do? He snitches. Yeah. Snitches apparently get what's it called? Witness protection. Yeah. And then apparently this is a true story. This is based on a true story also. But then apparently what ends up happening is later on in life he gets out and now what does he want to do? He wants to tell his story because apparently all these made men are already dead. Because they were so much older than him. So now he wants to tell his story. He wants to do that, but he's still on drugs. And he dies in 2012 or something like that of a heart attack from doing so many drugs.
Still doing the drugs. Wow.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to tell you, Marty, hats off to you. Great job. Martin Scorsese is a beast in the way that he put this movie together. I really like it. Like I said, all the characters played their part perfectly. I wish that Robert De Niro had a bigger part in it, though. I do wish that. Joe Pesci, beautiful.
Yeah, I think that was originally one of his biggest movies. Yeah, man, for sure, where he stood out.
He's such a little guy, but he plays the biggest person. He plays the person with the biggest heart. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
He definitely but he definitely has that Napoleon complex to where it's like, I'm little, but guess what? I'll still kill you. I don't care. I'll kill you. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's how he is.
He is. He's always feisty.
He's mean. He's angry. He's so tiny, but I'll kill you. What? You laughing at me? bow, bow, bow. You know? Oh, you told me to shut up? Bow, bow, bow. No, you did. So he's good at playing that character. I mean, like, he's so great. You know?
Yeah, so, he actually, it says Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, I think.
Yes, that he got in Goodfellas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they said it was something about, like, once he kills the dude Fats, and then he's just like, hey, man, I'm sorry I got blood on your floor. I was trying not to. Nah, I'm sorry I just killed this maid man inside of your restaurant. Right. It's like, no, I'm sorry I got this blood on your floor.
My apologies. Yeah. No, but yeah, so he's a great actor. I wonder where he is now. We haven't really seen
the last time he was on, like, I saw him on anything was Irishman when he was on that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't end up watching that. Yeah, I meant to, Irishman, but I just heard it was very long, so I haven't watched it.
It's long, but it's like another mafia movie.
Okay.
So.
Keeps you entertained.
Yeah, definitely keeps you entertained. But yeah, definitely check out Goodfellas, 1990s movie. I don't even know where you can find it on, what platform you can find it on.
I'm sure I didn't even look it up. Of everywhere, more than likely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to find it on
Netflix. Maybe Amazon Prime. Hulu, you can probably just talk into your Amazon Prime and be able to see it if people haven't seen it already.
See exactly where it
can be and if it's for any kind of fee or cost.
Look, I just looked it up. HBO Max.
Oh, HBO Max. So if you're paying that, $14.99, $15 for HBO Max.
HBO Max. Boom, you can watch Goodfellas, and it is a really good movie. I think that's like everybody likes Scarface. I like Goodfellas better than I like Scarface.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So what you got?
So I was thinking about how I do love my British shows and my international shows. Like
to the letter of the law.
Yeah, like my line of duty. And so, and I think I even talked about Money Heist and just different things like that from time to time. And so anything that is from overseas, I mean, of course, I love American TV too, but, something is different about the shows that are done from overseas where it's very short seasons. Typically it's like 6 episodes or something like that, so they have a quick story to tell, and that's good in some ways and bad in others because it's great. But
but six episodes, and it's like I gotta wait a year. It's only been 6 episodes.
Exactly. So anyway, and I talked about Wentworth. That was Australian.
Oh yeah.
And so today I'm going to be talking about 2 British shows and 1 French show that I've really been enjoying. And so I'll start with one of the British shows, and it's called The Bay. The Bay is an interesting show. It's based on a bay, and basically it kind of starts off with this lady. She's getting ready to go out with her girlfriends and have a good time, and in the process of doing so, she leaves, the kids are with her mom, and the kids are teenagers. They're hanging out with her mom. They're having a good time. She leaves out. She's having a good time singing karaoke with her friends after she said she would never sing karaoke. Haven't we all done that? And then she ends up seeing this guy. He's checking her out. She's checking him out. And so basically, they end up kind of hooking up outside the club, right? Or the area, the bar. She gets up the next morning. She gets ready for work. When she shows up at work, guess what? She's a police officer.
Oh,
she's
snap.
a chief constable or something to that effect. So basically, she shows up at work as a police officer, definitely looking different than the hot woman who was out the night before. And she realizes that there was a crime that was committed where 2 teenagers are now missing. And so she has to go talk to the parents, get information, evidence, whatever the case may be. What was the last place they were? Who were the last people they talked to? And so she shows up at this house, and the mother is there. She's pregnant, and she's, of course, just distraught. And then the father shows up, and guess what? The father is the guy that she was out in the streets with. So they're looking at each other. The wife doesn't pick up on anything, but so she's like asking him questions. Where were you last night? And he's looking at her like, where I was last night. Like, I was kind of with you. But, of course, he wasn't going to blow her cover because he didn't want to say anything in front of his pregnant wife. So, therefore, he was like, I went out for drinks with some friends, and it kind of unfolds as being, at least in this first season, The Bay, I think, is on its 3rd or 4th season right now.
4th season,
yeah. So, I've only really watched the first one right now, but I'm planning to watch additional ones. And
it sounds binge-worthy.
Yeah, because, then it becomes her realizing, there's probably bar footage of me with this guy. And what does that look like? And, by the way, do I let this kind of come into evidence, or do I destroy said evidence? So, you got that kind of moral dilemma that she's going through. Of course, these kids are missing. So then it's like, where do we look for them? How do we find them? Was the father involved after he hooked up with the lady who was the cop? Or did somebody else do it? Who are the other suspects? Trying to figure that out. Will the wife find out about what happened with him and the cop? Will her partner find out what happened with her and him? As she's sometimes including him in what she's researching, and sometimes she's not. And people are catching him and her kind of having one-off kind of side conversations. So it's a really interesting kind of crime drama because she's a mother of teenagers. She's the cop, as they typically have, and most of the, another show I'm going to talk about is about a cop too, but usually their family in these shows kind of falls apart because of the fact that the parent who's the cop is always so involved in their cases that they neglect their family, and that's kind of what happens.
And because she's
a
detective, she has to be on it all the time.
She's always on it, looking for things, finding evidence, clues, things of that nature. And so for her son, he's a teenager who is basically online trying to get street cred, I guess, because he is starting to get text messages telling him you got to go to this store and you got to steal X, Y, and Z. And then you have to show your face on the video, make a video of it while you're stealing, show your face on the video, and then kind of, send it to us. And then I think they're putting the video like online or whatever. He's stealing alcohol. He's still.
Oh, so somebody is sending him a text message. Okay.
Forcing him in a way to have to do these things. But he originally, I'm assuming, signed up for it. I don't know if I quite understood how he got caught up in this group of people who were doing these things. But yeah, so that's kind of his rebellious stage.
Yeah, smack in the face. Forget you, Mom.
Yeah, I guess. And then for the daughter, she's like, in school. Then she's also hanging out with this guy who's older, and he's like, no, you're only 17. She's like, I'm about to be 18, and all of this stuff. But he just wants her to be a drug mule. So she's like interested in him, but he's like, no, I just need you. There's a certain boy in your school who's selling drugs for me. So can you just take this to the school? But she got in a fight at the school. She can't even go on school property. So then trying to figure out how she can get drugs to him, plus the money from him, plus she gets caught, plus somebody destroys the drugs. Now she's in for money to give to this drug dealer.
She's in over her head.
She's so in over her head, and so much is going on there. And all the while, the mom is totally oblivious. And, the grandmother who stays with the mom and is trying to, like, keep these kids on the straight and narrow is like, are you realizing what's going on with your kids? Are you even paying attention to what's happening with them? So it's a really interesting story, again, about all these layers, what's going on. They have the kid's story, they have the mom's story, they have the murder story, and how everything unfolds. Are the kids alive? Are they not?
Yeah.
And then is it both or
That's
one? Or did one
yeah.
do something to the other, or like what actually happened?
There's some deep shows that come out of the UK.
I just feel
some
like
thinking shows. It's shows that make you think.
That make you think.
I think that's probably why you like it, because it makes you think.
Maybe so, because I don't really find anything that's like mindless. I don't really get into that, and I don't even really watch a lot of comedies that like TV shows that come on.
I do.
Are just
that's my
silly,
jam.
funny shows. I used to like the Seinfelds and things like that. World, but
Marble Rye,
the Marble Rye, and so, but now I've kind of realized that I don't probably watch those shows as much, or if I do watch them, it's like just noise in the background while I'm doing other things or something like that. But anywho, that's what I wanted to talk about. The Bay. I found it on BritBox. But it is also a BBC show. Okay. So it'll be, it's on the BBC or ITV for people who have British subscriptions. So
all right. I like that. Okay.
All right. Back to you.
All right. So I'm going to get into my fave. You know what I'm talking about.
Which fave?
Maisel.
Okay.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
What's going on in Maisie's world?
Just want to go ahead. This is just going to be a quick recap of everything that's going on with Maisie. Really quick, why I love her, why I'm sad that next season is going to be the last season. Yep. I might cry. It's going to be like Robin Big all over again. I cried a little bit.
Oh, when that show ended.
Yeah, when that show ended. But anyway, so, okay. Just first of all, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Prime. It's Prime Video. Amazing, funny, quirky show. Mm-hmm. Like, the cast is great. The storyline is fantastic. The people who are playing the roles fit in so perfectly.
Perfect. They're perfect, yeah.
Perfection. Amy Palladino, she is a genius. She's and like I didn't know she did the Gilmore Girls.
Yep, she did.
Did not know that she did Gilmore Girls, but she's super funny. Like I watched the thing earlier that was just like a panel when all of them were sitting down and like, they're asking her questions like, what were you thinking when you were creating this? Yeah. And she talks about how her father was from like New York, like Upper West Side, knew all this stuff that was happening and everything and stuff like that, but was raising her in like the Palisades or something like that in California. So she was just like that. She's like, her dad's friends used to come to, over to California all the time, and they would sit down and reminisce about stuff, and like she was like, that would just seem like a time period that she wanted to live in. Okay. So she was like, I wanted to go ahead and write something good, so what did I do? She said I was never going to write anything about a snap, a tweet, Facebook. She said nothing like that. Yeah. I don't want to write anything about social media. She said, I just want to be enthralled in this time period, this 50s and the 60s. And she's like, and I'm taking it from New York. So she said, I took my 6'2" bald father and turned him into Rachel Brosnahan.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is really good. But all right, so the cast is Rachel Brosnahan, who plays Maisel, Alex Borstein, who plays Susie. You have Michael Zegan, who plays Joel. Maureen Henkel, who plays Rose. Tony Shalhoub, who plays Rose's husband. Why am I not remembering his name right now? I want to keep saying Papa.
I know. That's what she calls
That's what she calls him.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah. And then you have Caroline Aaron, who plays Shirley Maisel. Kevin Pollak, who plays Maisel. Let's go. Abraham Weissman.
Yep, that's
Abraham Weissman is Tony Shalhoub. All right, so basically, I've already talked about Marvelous Mrs. Maisel before. I'm just going to give a rundown of what's going to what's happened in a few seasons. So the first season, she is becoming a comic. Her husband thinks he's funny. He's not. He's a thief. She actually realizes she's funny. She's writing down everything for him. Now, the first season is all about her becoming a comic.
Yep.
Great storyline, how it all comes together, how she just goes and just starts like riffing, and then people just find it hilarious, but it's actually dark because she's talking about her life. But people find it so funny because how do you get through trauma and stuff like that? That's how comedians do. You get through trauma by what? You make fun of it. Mm-hmm. You make fun of the trauma that you're going through to kind of lighten the blow.
Yep, and it's a little bit therapeutic, probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So second season, she's dealing with juggling her everyday life of being a single mother of two, and the divorce with her husband, and her parents, and like trying to figure out if she wants to tell her parents. Like, she's not telling anybody that she's a comic. So she's she's
sneaking away.
Yeah, she's sneaking away. So she's trying to like build her comedy career without telling anybody, as well as have a regular life with because she has to be like posh and all this other stuff for her family because that's how her family wants her to be. But then she just screw it. Like this is who I want to be. Like they talk. I mean, she's really building up her career to where she is going to be huge. What happens season 3? She becomes huge. She is on tour with this nice singer whose name is Shy Baldwin. And she opening act for a singer is usually never a comedian, but that's what happens in 1958.
Gotcha.
So that is amazing. So that's the third season. She's all about like building up her career. She's going like different states and then stuff like that. She is like her name is on the marquee.
Gotcha.
That's when she's like, I made it.
Yep.
Then what happens season 4? She loses it all and now she's trying to rebuild it.
Oh, okay.
So that's what happens with season 4. I'm not going to give too much.
Yeah, don't say anything because
because you haven't watched it. Yeah. So season 4 is like she loses everything. And she's trying to rebuild it.
Did she lose it from things that she did in season 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I remember season 3.
Yeah. So if you watch season 3, like she's just rebuilding from season 3.
Okay. Got it.
Then season 5. Then I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see how they're gonna. It better be a nice freaking bow. I want it to be under the Christmas tree. I want it to be perfection. It needs to look like the outside of like a Christmas card. That's how I want it to be presented to me.
Okay. Got it.
The Lexus commercials.
Like the Sopranos.
No. Know the Lexus commercials where it's like everybody's driving in the snow and then it's like the Lexus outside with the big red bow. That's how I want my Marvelous Mrs. Maisel to be.
I am sure.
I want to turn on my TV and there's my Lexus.
You probably need to know how Gilmore Girls ended.
No. This is totally different.
But I'm just saying that if it ended on a note, then maybe she's going to do the same thing with me.
I believe in her.
Okay, you believe in her.
I believe in her. And the fact that I don't know. I get it. I will wait 2 years for the finale to come out. That's how, as long as it's not going to be a Game of Thrones finale where it's going to be like Starbucks coffee cups and water bottles all in the chutes and like nobody really cares and like everybody's like you see like the key grip in the film. I don't want that. Okay. I want it to be the same way it has been Like the show started off with a bang, and then it's just like a life. It's just like anybody's life. It's like a roller coaster. It's like, oh, we having fun. All right, this good. Oh wait, no, that sucks. It's like, oh wait, we're on the road. All right, we're doing good. Oh no, wait.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I want it to be amazing.
Okay. I'm sure she will not disappoint you.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
It's all about
then
you.
I'll have to boycott, and I don't want to boycott such a nice person.
I mean, but it's like, yeah.
I mean, it would only be me, but
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how big of a boycott that'll be, but no,
But that's what I got. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Okay.
Seasons 1 through 4 is on Prime right now.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Great.
Definitely binge watching material.
There you go. Nope, sounds good.
So what you got?
All right.
What you got next?
So I have next a TV show that I was late coming to as a British TV show on the BBC called Luther. And I'm surprised I was late to it because Idris Elba is the main character.
That's your
and, he's kind of, my boo. And so, so he plays a DCI, which is a detective chief inspector on this show called Luther, and he plays John Luther. And basically, this is a show about a detective, and you're just trying to figure out, is he good or bad or kind of somewhere in between? I'm really not sure. So I'll give you a little backstory of just the first episode. Okay. We'll start there. I've watched all the seasons. I'm up to speed, but I'll just start with the first episode just to tickle your taste buds and to see if it's something that people might want to...
Tickle my taste buds.
Yeah, to see if it might be something that people want to look into. But so Luther, actually, as I mentioned, a DCI. And so it starts with him kind of chasing a bad guy.
What is a DCI?
Oh, I said detective chief inspector.
Detective chief.
Yep, exactly. So basically, like a higher ranking chief than just your normal foot patrol kind of people or ones in police cars.
Yeah, I mean, chief just says it all.
Yeah, in itself, right? Exactly. So, so basically, it starts with him chasing this bad guy, and like the bad guy's mainly running, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Ooh, here's Luther in front of me. Interesting." And it's like they know each other, but they get into this like fist fight, and the guy ends up falling on a ledge, and he's just holding on for dear life. It's a big, long fall. And so, Luther's like, "Okay, you got to tell me where the little girl is. Like, where's Mia?" And he's like, "Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what's going on?" He's like, "No, you have Mia, and we need her." And Mia's like a 8-9-year-old girl.
Yeah.
So, he's like, "I have no idea." And he was like, so he's moving his foot closer to the guy's hands. Like, "Hey, like, you got to tell me." So then the guy finally is like, "Okay, she's in this thing, in this place, whatever." So the police are already at his home or location or whatever. So he's calling them and saying, "Hey, he's telling me this is where she is." So he's waiting. And the guy's like, "Okay, help me. I gave you the answer." And he's like, "Hold on. Let me make sure she's there." So he's waiting. Then they finally say, "Yes, we found her. How's she doing?" Because she's like passed out.
Yeah.
And so they're doing chest compressions and all this and blowing into her mouth and all that. And he's waiting. And you can see he's getting very emotional and getting ready to cry.
Absolutely. It's an 8-year-old child.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is that they finally say, "Okay, she's breathing. She's good." So he was like, "Okay, great. Thanks." And then he's hanging up. As he's hanging up, the police on the other end can hear the guy saying, get me up, like, help me, So they know that Luther has the option to help this guy. But does he? That's the thing. Because Luther, you're trying to figure out, is he a good guy or bad guy? So anyway, so then, so Luther's there, and he was like, there was Mia, there was Emma,
Ooh.
There was, Daphne, there was this. Like, he's naming all these young girls.
Yeah, that guy gotta go.
And he said, and one of them I found, but it was too late. And that's why he was so distraught about the fact that this girl, was she going to make it? And so the guy's like, "Come on, man, you just got to help me. This is not you. You have to be a police officer. You have to help me." And he's still looking at the guy, and the guy...
That ain't nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So the guy ends up slipping and falling, and you're like, "Ooh, is Luther going to grab him? Is he going to save him?
I'm falling. I can't
Or is he going to let him fall?" And he basically lets him fall.
Bye-bye.
First 10 minutes.
I love this show already.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes of the show. So the guy falls this huge, way down some little, I don't know where they were, in like a warehouse or something. So he fell like in this big bin, basically, like to the bottom. Doesn't die. In a coma, but he's pretty much like
all broken up,
dead.
like
but not
internal bleeding and stuff.
Yeah,
like
a lot of things going on, and they were saying his brain activity is low and all this stuff. But they were like, but if he comes out of this, what's he going to say about Luther? You know, is he are we all going to be in trouble because of Luther? So they suspended him until they did an investigation. They come back, they say, Luther, you cleared the investigation. We don't have any proof that anything had happened. But Luther knows this. You know, Luther is dealing with it, and Luther keeps coming to the scene of where it happened. So it's almost like his conscience is kind of
it's bothering him
a little bit. Well, I think it's just mainly because
he needs to man up. No, I'm just kidding.
It's because he's a police officer.
And he has to do right.
Done what was right, and not just said, you know what? It's no need for him being in prison and us spending, money on this guy. Let me just let him fall, and then we don't have to worry about any other women, like him beating the case, number one, but also any other little girls, So anyway, I think that's kind of what you were seeing going through, like his wheels in his head as he was letting the guy hang there. So anyway, so that's kind of how the first, like I said, just 10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes
of the show is. And then all of a sudden, there's his, I guess you would say, his antagonist, right? So, well, and I guess I'll call her that, but so there's this woman, Alice Morgan, who makes a phone call saying, oh my God, my parents are dead. Something happened. I don't know what's going on. Everybody's dead. I went to the store. I came back. Parents are dead. So then Luther, within another 10 minutes after doing a conversation with her, is like, she did it. She did it. And everybody is like, how in the world do you know she did it? And he's like, I yawned. And they're like, okay. And he was like, I yawned, she didn't. And when you yawn,
yes, she's lying.
People always yawn. They can't help it. And as he was explaining that to his boss, the boss started yawning. He's like, just talking about.
I'm about to say, I want to yawn right now.
Exactly.
Try not to.
People are yawning as we speak. So anyway, and so he was like, she didn't yawn.
Okay,
she's a person up there. She goes, y'all. She's yawning. So anyway, so he was like, she's the kind of person who is, just is on a different emotional plane that could do something like this. So they're like, okay, you got to prove it. Now, they're telling him, you got to prove it in the right way.
Yeah.
You can't go around doing your Lutheranisms.
Yeah, you can't just have like, oh yeah, my hypothesis is. No.
Well, and also you can't break into her home and steal stuff and then try to put it into evidence or anything like that. That's what I'm saying. So you're trying to figure out, is Luther a good cop or a bad cop, or a good cop who does bad things to catch the right people?
That's
it's like that kind of trying to just figure that.
But see, that's the whole thing that's crazy about like police officers. It's like so like you're cheering on the police officer who is the good cop that does bad stuff to bad people, but then it's like those are the same cops that are doing bad things to good people,
right? Because
they're actually wrongfully accused,
right?
And the police officer thinks that they know absolutely,
absolutely, this is the person who did it.
And then so it's like that catch-22 with that,
right? And for me, I'm just like, just do it right. Do it the right way. Like, don't
because it will all come
all
to light.
Of this shadiness and stealing and planting evidence and all these kind of things.
It's going to come to light. Yeah,
and that's kind of what. So I'm watching this episode again, all first episode, and he and his kind of, I guess another cop, friend, not his partner or anything. But so him and this other cop, they're just like, okay, well, we know this guy did it, so you tell me when he leaves from his house. So the guy leaves from his house. He's walking down like a little, alleyway in between two buildings. Luther's dressed up, like hat on stuff. The guy doesn't recognize it's Luther. When Luther gets close to him, he clotheslines him with his arm.
Luther does?
Luther clotheslines the guy, knocks him down. Luther has gloves on. He gets the blood off of his bloody nose, folds it up
the glove so he can get the DNA.
Says he has the DNA in the blood. So then all of a sudden you see his him and his friend at this spot that they said was a place where this guy was doing bad things, and so they're taking little swabs and putting DNA everywhere, right? Blood is everywhere in this thing. So then the friend cop calls the bad guy and is like, hey, just want to let you know some information. He doesn't know who's calling him. It's just a blind phone call. It's like, look, I'm just letting you know, I have news or word that the police have planted your blood from this XYZ place, and you need to go and clean it up. And, by the way, because I'm giving you this information, and I'll tell you where all this stuff is going on and what's taking place and when the cops are going to come, but you're going to have to give me $150,000.
I know, that's right. I know it's going to be money.
Giving you this information. So you're just sitting there like, oh my God, these cops are terrible. And then come
Cops
to
are
find
people.
out. No, but look, here's the thing. Luther was smarter than that. It wasn't even this man's blood. It ended up being like blood from something else. And he just plain, he said it was from a steak the night before. So he just ended up doing that. And the guy came with his luminol lights
the light thing so you can see.
And bleaching and doing all of this. Like, I see where you're putting this blood. It's not, And then Luther catches him trying to clean up the scene. And that's how he ends up arresting him, even though it wasn't even his blood. But why are you here with a luminol light at the scene of where the crime was?
Oh, he's smart.
You see what I mean? So it's like...
That
he's
is
bad,
smart.
and he's just bad. I can't even try to give him a good. But you kind of see where he's going because it's his way of catching people. And even with this woman, he figured out how she got rid of, because, again, first episode,
was her parents?
She did it, basically.
It was her parents?
Yeah, so first episode, you pretty much know she did it. And so it's like, he's meeting with her, and she's like almost flirting with him. It's almost like, I know you're the smartest detective on here.
But
so
your
and
parents
this is
just
the woman, I don't think I told you her name, but it's Ruth Wilson, who played on The Affair. She was the one that the husband had the affair with.
Okay.
And so... she's all, seducing and in his face, and, she's just talking to him really close and touching him and all this kind of stuff. And he's just looking at her like, okay, chick, and so he ends up going into her house, and they're talking, and she's talking about her dog who had died and the whole, shooting with her parents. And he was like, well, what's worse is somebody would even shoot a dog. Like, why would somebody even shoot a dog?
It's
like, he was like, interesting. And she was just like, yeah, it's just such a tragedy. And the whole time he's like, yeah, because you shot your parents and the dog.
And the dog.
And so then he was like, why would somebody shoot a dog? And then he's like, you know what? I bet you I know where she hid the gun. In the dog. She stuffed the gun down the dog's throat to get the dog cremated. So when she gets the ashes, she has the gun parts all dismantled, broken up. Like, they're burned up, but they're all in the ashes. And she has the urn.
She has all the evidence.
She has the evidence, but then she said, when he kind of brought that to her attention, because he broke into her house to steal the urn to look and see if there were the ashes in there and the gun. And she was like, but you don't have any proof. Like, how can you prove that I was the one who put the gun inside the dog? You don't have any gun residue on my hands. Oh, by the way, any evidence that was on the gun to talk about how it was, utilized or whatever, and the shots and all that stuff, it's all burned away because of the high velocity of the heat. So there's nothing that you have on me. So he ends up throwing the urn over the freaking river. It's just weird stuff that happened, because he was like, I just needed you to know that I knew you did it. Like, basically.
But she got away.
Well, that's what the whole series is about.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Now I'll let it go then.
She is the antagonist who
and what'd you say her name was?
Constantly trying to follow and find. Ruth Wilson is her name as an actress.
Okay, yeah, I know who she is. Yeah.
She's been on a lot of different things. So, it's a really good show. It's got 4 or 5 seasons, and it's pretty much done now. So you can definitely utilize it as a binge. But again, it's only
2019
like 6 or 7.
Was the last year.
Yeah, it's only 6 episodes. So it's one of those things where when you start watching it, maybe there's 1 or 2 seasons, but for the most part, it's mainly 6.
five seasons.
Yep, and the last one was like 4 episodes, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But some of them were a little longer, so it's not always.
Yeah, season 2 is only 4 episodes.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Season 3 is only 4 episodes.
It's crazy.
Season 4 is 2 episodes.
Oh, is that what it was? 2 episodes for season 4? Yeah, because I think they just wanted to wrap everything up for season 4.
And season 5 is 4 episodes. So like it's good, but then it started to die off.
I think that it was good all the way through. It was one of the top rated shows overseas, in Britain.
Something
but it
happened.
was just, I think that he was just getting pulled into so many acting gigs outside of television into movies that he just didn't have enough time, and they had to work around his schedule. Oh, you only have enough for 2 episodes? We'll give it to you. Like, whatever you can do
because
for
this
us,
is a big
because
show.
He was being
that's
pulled into
crazy,
so many other acting gigs. So that's the way I see it, at least. I didn't do any research on it. But anyway, so that is Luther. Luther, right. BBC again. That one I actually watched on Netflix. I believe. So
I think it's on Netflix.
Oh no, I think it might have been Hulu. Now that I think about it, I think I found it on Hulu.
You can watch it BritBox, HBO Max, Hulu, Pluto. You can rent it from Amazon.
Yeah, so it was Hulu. I was in Hulu, and because I used my Amazon Fire Stick to talk into to say Luther, but I was already in Hulu, so it's like pulling up Luther through Hulu. Gotcha. So I was like, okay. The next one I talk about is Netflix. That's where I got confused. But all right, so what you got?
All right, so I got the all-time like best black movie ever.
Oh, okay.
The Color Purple.
The Color Purple.
The Color Purple. Like,
yeah. Sister.
Stevie Spieley. That's my boy.
Yeah.
Stevie Spieley. You know what I'm saying?
Stevie Spieley.
Yeah. I'm just giving
West Side Story, The Color Purple. The whole
yeah, Steven Spielberg. He did fantastic with this. How it goes back and forth is just amazing. So, people who don't know, The Color Purple, definitely a must-see movie. It is 2 hours and like 30-something minutes long, I want to say. But it is worth it. If you can sit through Titanic, you can sit through this. This is a lot better than Titanic. It's a better storyline. And there's more storylines. So, the cast is a young Oprah Winfrey, a young Whoopi Goldberg, a young Danny Glover. Everybody's young.
Just know
everybody's young.
It was a while ago, so everybody's younger than they are today.
So this movie is disturbing, but also like the reality of like back in those days.
Mm-hmm. It's like disturbing, but uplifting.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
At some points.
The only reason it's disturbing is because of the things that happen.
Yeah.
But it very well could be the reality of that time period.
Era.
You know what I'm saying?
Where are you even starting?
I know. So I'm gonna,
it's so many layers and so many areas.
Right. So there are a lot of reaction videos online that are on like YouTube of people, and like people are crying. From watching it. It's like their reaction, like, oh yeah, wait, no, what? Oh, whoa, why you hit her? Oh, wait, no. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. But it is so good. The hardship. So Whoopi Goldberg's character is played by is Celie.
Yeah, Celie. So Whoopi plays Celie.
Whoopi plays Celie. The hardship that she went through, being just a child who is now with a grown man that has kids, and this is supposed to be like your love interest.
With basically arranged marriage. Her just being given to this guy.
Having had kids by who she thinks is her father, and then he takes the kids and like, you better not tell nobody but God to kill your mammy. You know, like you take you take this child, get her pregnant, take her children and give them off to somebody else. That's so deep. It's like, so the love that she has for her sister Nettie, that is so deep too, because it was just always just her and her sister. Yeah. And that is like amazing, like how that is, because it's like they say in there, like nothing in the world can keep me from you, and that's basically what happens in the movie. Yeah. They were children, like basically they were children when the movie started. By the time they ended, they were like what, in their 60s, maybe. So, and then like it's just so much into it. All right, so also how rape wasn't considered rape back then because women were basically like property.
Yeah, it's kind of like, they own you, so therefore, it's like you're here.
Yeah, you're here to serve
satisfy me as my wife.
Yeah. Do your wifely duties. Yeah. Take care of them kids.
Yeah,
clean this house. Fill out that slop bucket.
And I was going to say, and for people who are like, oh gosh, that's kind of terrible. Well, looking at Bridgerton, it's kind of the same thing. Like I was looking at a piece of the new season, and he's like, I'm just looking for a woman who will bear beautiful children and do this and do that, and just keep her mouth shut and do what I say, and and it's just like, it's the same thing. It's
the
like,
same thing. The only thing is,
no life of your own.
Exactly.
You are here.
You
for
are
your
property.
husband.
You are now basically property. It's so crazy, but like the movie is deep AF. It's so deep. It's like, it's how many families back in the day actually went through stuff like this. How do you know how many families were actually like built off of a relationship like Celie and Mr. had. And Mr. is played by Danny Glover.
Danny Glover, yeah.
So like that is just, I don't know, it's crazy. But then so the way that the husband, Mr., is played by Danny Glover, treats Celie like she's a slave, just like, you have to do this, you have to do that. That is baffling. Like, it's just, it's so much. But it makes the movie so good, though. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like so hard to see, but then it makes the movie so good. And it's hard. But then also, Sophia, who was played by Miss Sophia, who was played by Oprah Winfrey. Mm-hmm. All her life she had to fight. Okay. Yeah. And the strength that she had, how they do the comparison of Celie and Miss Sophia. Yeah. Miss Sophia is a strong, independent black woman who don't take nothing. Yep. Exactly. Celie is, I'm just going to go ahead and go along with this because this is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, that is amazing how Miss Sophia just comes in and then Miss Celie is just like, I've never met a woman like this. Like, I've been getting my tail beat. I'm getting my tail beat. Wait, did you just talk back to that man? Like, that kind of thing. So then there's a scene where Miss Sophia and Harpo, they get married, right? Mm-hmm. And then Miss Sophia had already told Mister, she was like, I live with my sister and her husband, and they said I could stay there as long as I want to, right? So after they get married, you see Mister try to go up, like he's trying to give his congratulations to Miss Sophia, and all of the women who are like her sisters just turn around and look at him, and they stop fanning themselves, turn around and look at him, and they're like swarmed around him. And I swear, it was literally like him. He was just like, yep, not going over there. Takes his hat, turns around, goes back. And then they all turn around and start laughing and cackling and talking about what they was talking about before. Like, he ain't going to come over here and mess up your good day. No, we got your back.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Her being around strong women like that. Yeah. Who just like, we got your back. Oh, what? What? Harpo, what? Harpo punch you? Yeah. Oh, no, it's a wrap. You told Harpo to beat me. Yeah. So yeah, that is really deep, and that I do like how they do have how it has the two different kinds of women: the women who are just like kind of like children, like, you know, speak when spoken to, do what I say, and then you have Miss Sophia, who is just, you think I'm gonna do what you say, right? Because you own me, you ain't own no parts of me. Like, she is like and, that.
You know, I wonder if it's like, you know, you have to think a lot of this is taking place after slavery, not very far removed from slavery, where you had no rights to do anything. Yeah, it's still
horse and carriage was the male.
Right, but I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, as black people, you didn't have any rights to do anything you wanted to do, right? So then you have somebody like Danny Glover, who is like, now that I have, because my parents didn't have that ability to be able to do what they wanted to do, how they wanted to do it, and my grandparents couldn't do it, and all this, you know, it's like, I'm gonna treat people the way I want to treat them. But then you have somebody like, Sophia, who was like, I ain't gonna we already been there. Exactly. I'm not going back. You know what I mean? And then you have people who maybe are a little bit more timid because they're like, we didn't have that ability and right to be able to do anything, who we wanted to be. Exactly. So I feel like at the end, it's like, where did people go? Where did they land? Who is their true self? Does that make sense?
It's true. You know? I feel like Danny Glover's character was basically how people, and I wrote something down like that, but it was like how basically people, how maybe him and his family were treated, or like his ancestors were treated during slavery, where it was just like, if somebody doesn't do what you tell them to do, you beat them. Oh, yeah. If your wife, that's why you beat her. Yeah. Because that's how it was, you know. Slave. That's what he learned. The slave master mentality is, he don't want to do what you tell him to do. You beat that man, and if he still don't want to do it, then you kill him. You know, that type of thing. So that's how I feel like that was all played out. But then I do love the way that how they have Miss Sophia. Like, you could tell that she was just raised around strong women, and like she would be considered now she would be considered an angry and difficult woman. Yeah. She'd be the angry black woman. Yeah. But actually, she just like, I'm actually just speaking my mind. Yeah, that's all you speaking your mind and asking me questions. Right. And my answer is going to be the answer to your questions from me. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And like the way how Celie and Suge, so Suge Avery is actually played by Margaret Avery. But Shug Avery is actually Danny Glover's love interest. That, she is a nightlife lady. She sings in like the juke joints and stuff like that. She's very promiscuous. Her father is the preacher though, of that small town. So Shug Avery comes into town, and her and Celie, like, how does Celie as a woman have her now? It's not her husband because they never got married, but like her man, I guess, like however you would even common law marriage to Danny Glover or something like that. Like, how you just allowed him to bring another woman into the house,
right?
And it was just like nothing, and now you helping this woman. But then the thing of like how it got flipped, and it was like now Shug Avery and Celie are now like sisters. They become so close to where now Shug is taking up for Celie, and like forget you, mister.
She was seeing that there was so much disrespect and unfairness, and he was just treating her horribly. And it's like, how do you even care about or love somebody who does that to somebody else?
Exactly. I would tell you this: one of the best parts of the movie that I liked, but also was the saddest part of the movie that I hated, was the way that Miss Sophia was treated when she had her kids, and she was just walking, and there's a white lady who wanted her to be her maid, basically demand her to be her maid, and like that whole scene right there is deep because that is that anger of how do you think that I have to do something that you tell me to do?
Yeah, just because you
telling me to do it, because you in your mind you think that you're better than me,
right?
But I have to do this. But then it's like she stood up for herself, and then she made sure that her children were nowhere around. No, she made sure her children were nowhere around.
Oh, right.
So she was yelling. She was like, "Get my kids up out of here!" While she's being surrounded by a whole group of angry white people who were mad at her because she ends up like the dude one of the guys comes up to her and is like, "What did you say to this lady? You don't want to work for her?" And then he goes and hits her, and as soon as he hits her, she falls onto a car and she balls up that fist, and then now she's like hitting him. So now it's like that was like the best scene. It's like, yes, good job. It's like,
but then the bad side of that
sucks because you didn't have there was nobody there to help you back it. You don't have that freedom. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you don't have that freedom to be able to do that, which is like you can't Will Smith people.
No,
you cannot. You cannot
Absolutely
do that.
Not.
So yeah, that was the thing. But that was like that was such a deep scene for you to be able to look at it and feel two ways, like the excitement of David just knocked down Goliath,
right,
and then the disappointment of, oh, but Goliath got like 17,000 brothers that are all around me.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's something like that. But it's great. The way, the magic of how Scorsese brought the...
Wait, you mean Spielberg?
I mean Spielberg, I'm sorry. The way that it was brought together with Nettie and Celie at the end being able to like bring the whole family back together. Like, very touching. So moving. Great movie. I mean, like, the movie starts off in the field, the movie ends in the field. I love it. Boom. Okay. That's it. So yeah, definitely check it out. The Color Purple. I think you can watch it on Tubi, and I think you can rent it on Prime.
Okay. Great. All right. So
what you got last but not least
is the French show I was mentioning that I was going to speak to, and that is called Lupin or Lupin.
Okay.
Lupin.
Oh yeah, I did watch that first season. The first season.
Okay, yep. So yeah, I think it's like 3 seasons in. But so Lupin, I call it Lupin, Lupin, but I think that officially it's Lupin.
Yeah.
But it's on Netflix, and it is a French show, and it kind of is dubbed into English when you're watching it. I personally put the subtitles up too, just to make sure that I can kind of truly understand what's going on. I don't get bothered as much by the lips moving different than the words, when
See, I do. I can. Like, that's why I haven't watched Money Heist.
Right. So some people get bothered by that, but once it gets going and it's good, I don't even pay attention to it anymore. Like, I'm not even focused on how their mouth is moving. I'm focused on the acting.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So anyway, so Lupin is basically the guy who's playing this. And, you know, I don't know many British, French, anybody actors, you know, in regards to who does what. But in looking up who plays it, it's Omar Sy, S-Y, and he plays the Arsène Diop. And Arsène Diop, and I'll explain how he becomes Lupin a little bit later. But no one else on the cast that I am aware of I've ever seen before, really.
I feel like when I'm watching,
British,
I don't really know anybody either,
British actors that I'm just not as familiar with. But just wanted to give his name since he's the main actor, and I did that for Idris Elba. So, but anyway, so he basically is a bit of a con man who, at the same time, is just trying to defend his father's good name, because you find out that his father worked for a very wealthy family, and the father of that family didn't treat him really with the most respect. He was kind of like, go do this, take my car and get it out of the rain, do this, do that, you know, where his wife was a little nicer to the guy who was basically his chauffeur. So anyway, the family accused the father of stealing a necklace that was worth millions of dollars. It was kind of like this priceless necklace. So therefore, it ends up being that he did it so he could collect the insurance money. So he was getting low on money. So therefore, he's like, well, if the necklace goes missing, I can collect the insurance money. But, oh, by the way, you know, miraculously, I can, you know, say that it came back to me. And now, you know, everything's good in the world kind of thing. So anyway, his life's mission, and this is, you know, Lupin, his life's mission is basically to take down the guy who basically kind of set up his father in his eyes. Okay. And his father ended up being arrested. They made a big scene of it. Yeah, they sent him to jail. And then when he's in jail, he somehow ends up murdered or has suicide, you know, hanging from a sheet or something like that. But it's like, but would he have done that? He only had him and his son. Why would he leave his son behind? He was very you know, adamant about taking care of his son. Yeah. And so the son is just like, look, I have to clear my father's good name, you know, and if that means I'm conning, I'm stealing, I'm doing fake IDs, I'm doing disguises, you know, whatever I have to do, that's what I'm going to do. And so within the first episode, again, because these are multiple seasons, but I'll just talk through the first episode, he got a job as a janitor at the Louvre, but not to work, but to actually like steal this necklace back that his father was supposedly, you know, fired for and stolen and went to prison for. And so he wanted to steal that, and he pretends to kind of show up on the night of the sale and auction of this necklace at the Louvre to be this multi-billionaire guy, which he works with hackers who made him come up with this fake web page about him and made him look like he was worth over $500 million and all of that kind of stuff. And so he has this great network of people who work with him. And so they, you know, he starts bidding, and it's like 30 million. 40 million, and they start looking him up like, well, who is this guy, this black guy especially, who has $40 million to spend? And they look him up and they see he's an investor or something like that, and they're like, oh,
they worked that out good.
He's worth $500 and some odd million. Okay, perfect. So then he keeps going until he gets to $60 million, and then he ends up beating out the sale. So then it becomes him trying to go and look at the necklace after he had purchased it. He's like, it's mine. And they were like, well, the money transfer has to take place first. And then, you know, you can actually have it. And he's like, okay, well, let me just see it. So then this brawl ensues because guess what? He's not the only person trying to steal it that night. Other people are trying to steal it too. And so there's this fight and brawl, and long story short, he does end up with the necklace. But it's all about this man named Herbert Pellegrini who treated his father absolutely horribly, and that's who he's kind of going after is Herbert.
Yeah, well, I would too. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, like I would if I was in his situation,
right? And the mother of Herbert's wife, like again, was kind of nice to him to a degree, but she would like be, oh, you could use our pool, and then their daughter was at the pool, so the daughter ends up engaging with Lupin.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like this weird conundrum even now as adults where it's like, okay, she's still on the bad side in a way. I mean, you know, he is a thief, but you know,
but
like,
I mean,
you
like,
know,
the
but she's with
how it
the
started
father
off,
and not realizing her father's such a horrible person, number one. But then also he's like, look, I'm just trying to do right and get my father's name, because she probably still thinks his father actually stole it. And so it kind of goes through this whole crazy scenario of where this wife was slightly nice to the father, slightly nice to the son, but was complicit. You know what I mean? Like she didn't really try to stop some of the things that she could have. And so one of the things that she did, which was a benefit for the father, was when he was working there still, she was like, look, pick any of the books from our library and take it to your son. You know? And he was like, oh, okay, great. So he picks the one for our son Lupin. And that's the one that is the gentleman burglar. And so from that point going forward, his son had this book, Lupin, and he loved it. And as he became an adult and was trying to figure out, well, how do I get away with cons? How do I disguise myself? How do I do whatever? He referenced Lupin's book. And he had so many scenarios that happened to the point that there's a cop trying to chase him, and the cop is like, this looks so familiar.
Yeah,
like,
why do I know this?
Like, all this stuff is so familiar.
That's because it's from the book.
It's from the book. So that's basically Lupin. It's just about him trying to, you know, it's a story just of him being a con artist.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good,
and a thief. But at the same time, it's really a story of redemption and trying to fix his father's good name. So he's being the thief and the con artist, following Arsène Lupin's guidance and what was in the book solely so that he can do the right thing for his father, which is
and what, like, how many
admirable.
Was it 2 seasons, 3 seasons?
I think it's 3 seasons. Yeah, so 3 seasons, and I think another one is coming out soon. And so, that's my last one.
Wow. Okay, but that's good. I do like Lupin.
Yeah, Lupin. I think it is really pronounced Lupin, but it's spelled Lupin for anybody who's trying to research.
But then also how you pronounce Louvre is not Louvre.
Yeah, that is true.
It's like Louvre.
Yeah. So
how it's pronounced and how it's spelled totally different.
Totally different. Well, that's French. So.
I mean, that's American too. That's American too.
See.
Because I mean, why we got silent letters? Just throwing it out there.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. No. So, well, thanks everybody for joining us this week on Sestra-Tainment. Everybody have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.